point down to the radar. And again, the reason we continue to be on the air, that potential rotation in the storm with the wall cloud that's been reported, that moves off toward the east at about 25 miles per hour in Keokuk County. That's the area right now that we want you to be in your safe place and watching out and just keeping yourself safe.
Yeah, we'll put another storm track on this. We want to hop back over to Max 2 as that storm, again, as Joe mentioned, is moving off toward the east at about 25 miles per hour. We'll put a storm track on this for the next 45 minutes or so to give a sense of who is going to be in line for this. It's passing near the South English area, probably just south of town right now. 7:37 expected to affect Kinross, near at 7:43, Fauntleroy Park at 7:53, Wellman at 7:55, and 8:05 in Amish. Again, that's a storm track out to the east at 25 miles per hour as that storm is moving through. And there have been some signs of not a tornado yet, but the precursor, something that would lead into the possibility of a tornado. As you mentioned, we're on the air for this. I know that a lot of you are anxious for our normal ABC programming, but as is the case, just because somebody doesn't tune in has signs that it could at any time potentially create a tornado. We don't want to be have anybody missing out on that information just because they missed us by 30 seconds. So that's why we're on the air, continuing to watch this thunderstorm as it moves off toward the east. Currently, the tornado warning is expected to go until 7:30. If it gets extended, we'll stay with regular this coverage. Otherwise, if that warning is allowed to expire, then we'll get back to regular ABC programming. But again, there is that tornado warning for the portions of Keokuk County until 7:30, which does include the South English area, heading toward the Kinross area, kind of right along just south of, as it heads off to the east near Highway 22. We'll start to come in close here again. South English, this area of rotation is going to be very near you. Also, we're watching for that threat of some very large hail. So if you're around the South English area and you recognize any of these road names, 270th Avenue, 280th Avenue, let's see, State Highway 159, let's see here, 150th Street, 160th Street, or, let's see, what are some other ones here, 312th Avenue, and then out toward Kinross. This is the immediate area where that area of a rotation and possible tornado will be heading toward. In addition, there is that large hail threat that it's large enough that if it is coming down as expected, it could break windows and such, as we do have those hail sizes that are 1.5 inches in diameter, which is about ping pong ball sized as this particular storm is moving off toward the east. Here's our hail tracker, and you can see that big blob of blue and purple indicating that large hail moving right along Highway 22 towards South English, moving off toward the east. So it'll be kind of coming right along the highway there over the next little while. So that large hail threat does continue from this storm as well.
County, if you're in Washington County, we are going to be on with severe weather as it moves through your area as well. So again, just want to stress that and kind of remember that as we move through the upcoming severe weather season, we will be there for you despite whatever programming happens to be on. Of course, safety is number one, and that's really why we're on the air, for public safety, to again let you know what's happening, where it's happening, and how you can stay safe. And that's indeed what we're continuing to watch. Just a glance right now at our Iowa City cam. You can kind of take a look on Max 1. The skies, it looks from Iowa City, again, kind of a way to watch. Notice some thunder or some lightning in that. If you look off to the right every now and then as those storms continue to evolve and move toward Iowa City. Iowa City is under that severe thunderstorm warning until 8:15. As the storms move in, you can see again, notice the church steeple on the right-hand side of the screen. Behind that right now is where we're seeing some of that thunderstorm move through with some of the lightning with the storm. So lightning, rain, certainly some gusty winds, potential for hail in that storm as it moves across areas in Johnson County. Kind of looking at some of the other areas right now. Our Washington City cam, well, we'll get those up. They'll look a little better. Tornado watch, again, continues to be in effect farther down to the south and west. And we also have a
new tornado warning.
Okay.
This is for Johnson and Washington until 8:15, so we'll hop to that. Let's go over to Max 2 as we can bring that up here. So again, that goes until 8:15 for that new tornado warning. It includes southern Johnson County. So I want to stress that the city of Iowa City is not currently in that tornado warning. It happens to end just southwest of town. So hails you right on the edge of it. But again, far, far northern Washington County, pretty much along the north of State Highway 22. Johnson County.
Just kind of run down where you need to go, lowest floor, under something sturdy. Put your bike helmet on if you've got one accessible to you. Cover yourself with pillows, blankets. Again, make yourself safe. Lowest floor you can get to in whatever structure you're on is going to be the safest spot for you to be able to, again, ride this storm out. No confirmed tornado. I want to stress that in these storms. But looking at radar and just seeing the rotation in the storm, as well as the spotters, seeing wall clouds in these storms, that's why the storm is being warned on, because the potential is there for a tornado to touch down. We want you to be in the safest place possible as these storms move through.
We're going to get to some video in just a moment from near Wellman about a half an hour ago. But first, let's pop over to Max 2 here, because I did want to show this rotation. Now, again, this is one of these things that we don't show very often, but where we have the red and the green close to one another in a very tight fashion, that's when we have those areas of rotation. And this is the strongest that I've seen since I've been in here over the past, 20, 25 minutes. And this is something that developed very quickly. This is just north of Wellman, just southwest of the town of Amish, as this is moving off toward the northeast. So this is going to be a situation again where you're probably not going to see if there is anything on the ground coming, because it's going to be wrapped in a bunch of rain. So let's see, Johnson, Iowa Road near the town of Amish. There's 320th Street. There's 540th Street southwest. State Highway 1 north of Kelowna. That runs up towards Sharon Center, or just west of Sharon Center. If you live in those areas, you do want to be in your safe place now, because this is probably the strongest tornado signature we've seen yet. Nothing confirmed at this point. However, it is something that is pretty a significant change from what it was just a matter of minutes ago.
We do have some video, I understand, and we're going to take a look at the clouds. This is what it looked like, our picture, as the storm was moving into Wellman. This is submitted by Joe, and we certainly appreciate that. Boy, is that part of the wall cloud?
It's hard to tell. It may be, at the very least, it's what we call a shelf cloud, and that would be a sign of some strong wind gusts as well. So at the very least, severe weather would be something that I would expect out of something that looks like that for sure.
We certainly appreciate Joe for getting that picture to us. Want to remind you, we want you to stay safe. That's first and foremost. If you happen to get a picture of the storm, go ahead and send it to us. We greatly appreciate that, to be able to show viewers what that storm was like as it's moving through the area. Again, that's the clouds as they were coming into Wellman earlier, before that storm was, or just as that storm was warned with that tornado warning earlier. 2 tornado warnings currently in effect. You see those certainly in our red boxes. Those are bright red down across areas of Johnson and Washington County, as well as across Keokuk County. 2 separate areas, not the same storm, 2 separate areas right now has rotation within the storm and moving through. One, as we can see, and kind of pinpointing until 7:30, so we're just about at the point in time where that warning will have to be extended, or will be allowed to expire. There's a severe thunderstorm warning that covers that area until 8:15, so it's a little bit longer. This would be near the South English area, very near Kinross as well, as that storm continues to evolve and move off toward the northeast at about 25 miles per hour. The second warning that's in effect as we head toward Johnson and extreme northern areas of Washington County, that's in effect until 8:15. As Justin was pointing out, some rotation near Amish, right along 540th Street southwest. That would be coming very close to Highway 1 and Sharon Center, moving just to the north of the city of Kelowna. Would continue on that track, would move it very close to the city of Hills. So that's kind of the area bounded by the box that you do see. Once again, the tornado warning that is in effect, and the remainder of Johnson County to the north, as well as farther to the east, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, we've had no official report of any tornado within any of these storms. It has been radar indicated rotation, as well as some spotters seeing some wall clouds with these storms. Stressing that there have been no reports of damage as well. Our news teams certainly have been calling to try to find out and trying to see if anything's there, and so far no damage, which is exactly what we want to report. We want to tell you, hey, we were on for a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour and a half, and the storm moved through. It produced no damage. We can go on and we can move forward. So that's really what we would like to see. So certainly, good news not hearing anything, but we'll continue to watch it and follow it as we move through, probably for about the next, upwards of 45 minutes as that storm moves through Johnson County.
Yeah, in Keokuk County, your warnings have expired, so there could still be some potential for some hail out of that as it exits Keokuk County, but our main focus now is going to be on, as the storm begins to really move into southern Johnson County in particular. Southeastern Iowa County, southeast of Williamsburg, there's going to be that potential for some large hail as that comes through, but really our primary focus is now on on that tornado warning that does go until 8:15, mainly affecting southwestern Johnson County. Technically, the far northern edge of Washington County is in that pretty much along the north of Highway 22. However, that'll be leaving that area very soon, and I would say the main tornado threat is going to be southwestern Johnson County. At the current trajectory, that would keep it probably just south of Iowa City. However, if you live on the south side of Iowa City, you want to monitor the storm very carefully as it does move off toward the northeast at about 25 miles per hour. In fact, we'll put a storm track on this. Let's go back.
Switch to Max 2 for
Okay, yeah, let's go to Max 2, and I'll put a storm track on this. There's that little hook shape down there in southwestern Johnson County. We'll go out over the next 45 minutes here. So 450 Sharon Center, 805 Hills, 807 Ryerson's Woods, and then Mercer Park at 814 as that does move off toward the northeast. So if you recognize some of those, that would be the areas that we're going to be watching for. And as we've done, we'll come in pretty tight here to give you a sense of where things are right now. Again, near the town of Amish in southwestern Johnson County. That'll be coming on through here very soon. It's very close to the Johnson-Iowa County line. We've got 540th Street Southwest, Angle Road Southwest, there's Derby Avenue, Highway 1 around that area, Cosgrove Road Southwest, and then as we back off toward the north and east here, there's some other communities around here as well. Waterway Lane. If you recognize any of those, again, in southwestern Johnson County, that'll be where the main tornado threat is going to be located as it does come off toward the east or northeast at about 25 miles per hour.
We did have reports and got to talk to folks in Keokuk County, and they confirmed that they dealt with some high winds, some pea to nickel size hail, but those are the only reports that they had. So they did not, coming in from the police department, emergency management, Sheriff's Department in Keokuk County, no reports of any damage, no reports of a tornado, just some pea to marble size hail as well as some high winds, which again is the good news that we'd like to hear as these storms continue to push across all of southern Iowa, generally along and south of Highway 30 as they continue to move through. The severe weather itself so far has been south of Interstate 80, and it looks to stay pretty much in that position. Let's go ahead and let me get a wide view first before we jump. I'm going to go over to Max 1 once we have the radar up to kind of give you, again, a perspective of what's happening across the entire viewing area. If you're just joining us, we went on the air about 6:45 with a tornado warning for Keokuk County. We've continued to stay on the air with a tornado warning that's in effect now for Johnson, southern areas of Johnson County, extreme northern areas of Washington County. That's in effect until 8:15. And you do notice we have one thunderstorm complex now exiting Alameda as well as Clayton County, moving into Grant and Crawford County in southwest Wisconsin. There are some scattered garden variety thunderstorms moving through northern Benton, northern Lynn. The Vinton area right now, it looks like some development near Van Horn, and farther back off to the south and west. The main area, and it's the area that kind of was highlighted earlier today for the best potential for severe weather, has been down across southern Iowa, particularly right now in the areas of Johnson and Washington County. We have one large severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect that does include the city of Iowa City, up to North Liberty, farther back toward North English, over to Riverside, and in the small area where that rotation has been detected in the storm. And as Justin said, it looked pretty impressive a little bit earlier. That's the area that's under the tornado warning, which is from Kelowna, just north of Riverside, over to Hills, Highway 1, Highway 218, as you see on our map, kind of bounding that area. So something certainly to keep in mind. Want to remind you that our radio partners, WMT, AM 600, certainly on with us for coverage as well. We appreciate their partnership as well to get this safety information out across all of eastern Iowa so everyone can get the safety information and exactly what they need.
I'm going to get out our gazetteer here to call out some of the other towns here.
I just thought about that earlier, and I thought we haven't used that in years.
It's been a long time. Google Maps is great, but sometimes this, the old-fashioned way, does a good job as well. So, let's see here. So we've got Kelowna, there's Williamstown, Wyndham, there's the town of Amish. We talked about Sharon Center. Let's see, there's the Redbird Farms Wildlife Management Area. If you recognize any of those would be areas to be watching out for. County F67, let's see, County F62, and yeah, Highway 1, near and just north of Cologne will be the areas that I'd be watching out for in particular as the storm comes off toward the northeast at about 25 miles per hour.
As far as the rotation in the storm, Justin, does it look as impressive as it did earlier? I haven't seen any
It's the rotation itself.
reports.
Yeah, the rotation itself seems to be not as impressive as it had been originally. However, I'm seeing more of a wrapping in sort of going on. So we'll put a loop over this over the past 15 minutes or so, and we might be able to kind of detect that a little bit. If you notice, just east of the Amish area, you can see that little swing around coming in here. That would be a sign to me that there is going to be still that rotation going on. There are all sorts of different things we look at for signs of rotation, and this is just one of them, and that'll be something that we do have to monitor as the storm does come off toward the north and east. Basically, this is right along the front, and anytime you have any kind of boundary where the winds can shift, that's where we have to watch out for those areas of rotation as they move northeast.
I have a report from the National Weather Service of some small hail that was reported in South English, as well as a power pole down just north of What Cheer. That happened earlier as that storm passed through the area. Not uncommon. We would certainly expect some areas of strong winds to move through with these storms, and again, hail has been seen within these storms as well. Haven't seen any large hail reports, but we certainly do have now quarter-size hail being reported near Williamstown in Johnson County, just a mile to the north and west. So some large hail in those storms as they're moving through Johnson County as well.
Yeah, so I've put on the past hail, so it's kind of an adding up sort of situation. So we can see the two storms, the one off toward the west was that initial one. That is really not producing much in the way of hail any longer as it's weakened somewhat. But then there's this new area of hail that's extending off toward the northeast, moving into Johnson County, which is where that report just came in from of that quarter-sized hail that has come through.
The area of concern as we jump back to Max 1, Andy, and you're doing a great job. Thank you very much, Brandy, as well in the booth. Thank you for all the information you're passing along. There's a look at Pinpoint Doppler radar. That's just a live picture right now showing you what we're seeing. And just off to the east of the city of Amish, from 540th Street southwest over toward Sharon Center, just north of the city of Kelowna, along Highway 1. That's the area kind of watching very carefully right now. Of course, that warning extends across a larger portion, and anyone within that warning, and Justin mentioned several towns as well as roads, county highways. You should be in your safe spot. And of course, as we've told you several times, that's the lowest spot you can get to safely, under something sturdy, preferably covering yourself with blankets or pillows, your bike helmet, something to keep you safe as that storm moves through. You can take us with you in many ways. You certainly can take along a radio. You can take along our app on any of your smartphone devices, on a tablet. We do stream our coverage there as well, so you'll be able to watch and continue so you don't have to be near the TV. Or some people just turn the TV volume way up, and they can hear us as well. We'll let you know when that storm passed through. If you didn't hear, Keokuk County, all your warnings have expired or have been canceled. So if you have not got out of your safe place yet, you certainly are able to do so.
I understand we have a photo from Ashley. This is on the Johnson, Washington County line a short time ago. I'm actually going to come up close to our monitor here so I can get a good view here. Gosh, I'm trying to see here. I'm kind of looking on the right-hand side to see if that lowering is anything notable or if it's just a fact of the cloud coming down in general. It's hard to say for sure, but it would have been not too far away from the area of rotation that we were watching for. So that's, again, thanks to Ashley for sending us that photo. That's near the Johnson-Washington County line a short time ago. We can go back to the Iowa City cam, as we do have quite a bit of lightning showing up there. As that city of Iowa City is in that severe thunderstorm warning, and just outside the tornado warning itself, we're just starting to see some of that rain begin to fall in Iowa City. However, I wouldn't be at all surprised if the lightning is going well beyond the area that is getting the rain itself. So if you do know anybody who has any outdoor activities that are going on in Iowa City, they need to be sheltering now. But even as far north as North Liberty, where there's barely any rain falling, Solon as well. Solon, you're outside the severe thunderstorm warning. But if there's not lightning there yet, there's going to be very soon. So lightning threat is also something we want people to be indoors for, just because that's something that's dangerous, especially now that we have a lot of the school activities going on in the evenings. Now that it's not cold out anymore, that's something we have to be thinking about.
Yeah, anytime thunderstorms are moving through, the best place, of course, to be, you need to be inside, and in order for you to stay safe. I'm going to switch over Max to Andy, so if you can just lose the Iowa City cam right now, I'm going to take a look at, you can go back to Max 2 right now. Yeah, great. And I'm going to set up here to take a look at the lightning as Justin has, again, kind of pinpointed the area under that warning. This is, again, in southern areas of Johnson County, particularly just off to the east of Amish. Is that kind of what you're watching for?
Yeah.
Where Highway 1 and 540 intersect?
Exactly. So we've got that area of Engle Road Southwest where 540th Street runs into Highway 1. This is probably not very far from the market there that's on that one corner on Highway 1. Might be just north of there. So that'll be something to keep in mind here. Also towards Sharon Center Road Southwest. You also see some of these school names that show up here. East Lincoln School, Boone School. There's a lot of smaller places or historic locations that show up on the map as we come in. So if you're familiar with that particular area, you'll probably recognize some of those town names. But again, this potential tornado would be approaching Highway 1 very soon, as it is just east of the town of Amish, moving toward the northeast, again at 25 miles per hour. We'll put another storm track on this just to give you an idea of how this is going to be moving. Again, this goes until 8:15 this evening, this particular tornado warning, and once this tornado warning is either canceled or expires, we will return to ABC programming, but as long as there is this risk of a tornado, we are going to be staying on the air and letting people know that it is going to be coming in. Again, Sharon Center, 7:54 is the expected arrival time, 8:09 in Hills, Ryerson's Woods at 8:11, Weatherby Park at 8:15, Mercer Park at 8:18, and Scott Park at 8:21. That's kind of getting onto the southeast side of the city of Iowa City as that storm comes in. And that's also watching the main tornado potential part of the storm. There's going to be other parts of the storm that arrive before then. In fact, we're already seeing that in Iowa City, where we have some of that heavy rain coming down and plenty of lightning and the potential for hail that might be as large as quarters.
Now, I understand another photo to take a look at. This from Laney between Wellman. As the storm was moving through the area, that also very interesting that the lowering of the clouds off on the left-hand side of the picture. Justin, you're up close and personal with the picture. What do you think?
That, it looks to me like that. And where was this from again?
This is between Wellman and Kelowna as the storm was moving through.
Okay, so that to me looks like that would have most likely been that wall cloud that had been reported earlier from that. Based on this perspective, it's hard sometimes when there's a still photo, but especially when you have trees and such there as well, which is another reason it's hard to see tornadoes around here. So you do have those wooded areas. But to me, that looks like that would have been that wall cloud that had been reported with that storm earlier on as it was moving through Keokuk County. Now there's another storm that developed ahead of it, and that's the one that we are watching for that tornado warning. So if one of them had the potential to do it, any one that come after it also would have that potential as well.
Thanks again to Laney for getting that picture, and thanks to everybody that's been sending. Ashley, Joe, you had pictures in earlier. We certainly appreciate that. Took pinpoint top for it and took the rain off. Just taking a look at the lightning within the system, and as Justin mentioned, there's lightning across the area. Some moving out to the northern part of Clayton County right now, but you do notice some lightning within those storms. And let's go ahead and remove the warning there for Johnson County, and let's get back to the lightning. Too many buttons. Too many buttons. Here we go. There's the lightning within the storm. You can again see as it's moved through areas of Lynn as well as Benson County, some of those thunderstorms containing some lightning, but a large concentration of lightning in the storm that's moving now through southern areas of Johnson County into central areas of Johnson County. Not unheard of course, because that's where we're finding the strongest cell that continues to move through the area. So again, you're seeing a pretty good light show across the area. Have had some reports of gusty winds, some again Peter Marble size hail reports that storm has moved through. As of yet, no major damage. Again, a power pole down earlier, but other than that, have not had any major damage, thankfully, as that storm continues to move through. And still, exhibiting the possibility of some strong rotation within that storm as it moves off toward the east.
Yes, and good news is that the fringe that included Washington County is now out of that tornado warning. So
you can go back to Max 2, Andy.
Yes, that's some good news for those of you who are in far northern Washington County. You are again out of that tornado warning, and honestly, it looks like the severe weather potential is now moving off to your northeast as well. So we'll back out the view a little bit. So Washington, this particular storm is staying to your north. There is still some off to your west, nothing severe at this time, but again, we're really focusing in on southern Johnson County, as that is a tornado warned portion. The storm may also produce some hail up to the size of perhaps quarters as that comes into the rest of Johnson County, including the city of Iowa City, Coralville, and perhaps North Liberty. The strongest may stay just to your south, but you are in that severe thunderstorm warning.
Keep that in mind. If those warnings are in your area, you need to be in your safe place. And again, we're looking at the current time about 7:45. Officially, that warning is in effect until 8:15. You'll want to stay there for the next half hour or so as that storm continues to move through the area. The potential is there also for some heavy rains out of the storms.